Hello everyone, Nigat here, and welcome to another match of Littlewargame. Today we're bringing the second match of the 2v2 show match organized by Dragon Archer, featuring Consciously Eating and Sqrt of -1 playing against Weird Rat and Holy, currently on Passant. So this map is a little bit interesting in the sense that it's completely walled off. There are 4 x 4, 16 different sections of the map, each having their own gold mine. The only way you can get to them from the early stage of the map is to have a worker gold walk to them, and so expanding is absolutely possible. But in terms of like defense and setting up plays, either destroying the buildings, destroying the werewolves, is definitely the way to go to approach each other. This map typically lends itself to a lot of either cata dropping with these advanced workshops being set up, or even dragon cheeses. Looks like Holy is going for a little bit of a den play here as well. Very interesting to see out of him. Again, I'm being joined by a very special guest, Mr. bScherm. If you'd like to introduce yourself.
Hey, this is bScherm. I've been playing since the Praise Hearthstone tournament a little while now. Really fun game. Came from StarCraft 2, and just having fun in the LWG community.
Nice, and we're super happy to play or to have you with us. Yeah, you're. I remember playing a couple games against you. You're very experienced in terms of RTS. Very good at it. Um, so, yeah, it's fun to have you. It's fun to have a person helping me cast, and I'm excited to see how these games go here. Let's talk about the opening strategy so far. So, Consciously Eating, going for a very, very similar strategy to what he did on that previous game, which is where he went for the one base airship play. Looks like Sqrt is doing something similar. Oh, wait a second. Wait a second. Sqrt is doing something entirely unique to this map. So something I was mentioning earlier is that air units is going to be the most popular play, because it's so hard for ground units to get to places, because they have to either kill all the werewolves or kill all the buildings so that they can get to the next section, so that they can get to the opponent's base. Sqrt decides that he's going to go for a just an expand option, but realizing that airships are very powerful on this map, he decides to go for advanced workshop first. Builds a house, gets an advanced workshop, and then he's going to expand. So he's going to have 2 bases. Also, Consciously Eating going to have 2 bases. Consciously Eating is going for the more aggressive approach, where he is just going to try to do some pressure of his own once he gets the drop set up. And he's not going to be able to afford a ballista just yet.
I'm really curious. I really like Square Root's sort of unique play here of getting that fast expansion out, getting the ballista going.
Uh-oh. Did I
Um,
mute?
I'm I'm really curious to see how he handles when Holy gets his wolves in there. I mean, it's great that you're very anti-air, but like, what's he gonna do against wolves? Or if the catapults can get dropped in there, and then the wolves have some support. Maybe he can use the workers to, since they're pretty buff, but I'm not sure. Here we're gonna see it now.
Yeah, yeah. We see Sqrt also has that ballista, which I think is huge in terms of the defense. And now you're absolutely right. Yeah, Holy's got a bunch of wolves and Sqrt's main base. What is he going to be able to do? And the answer is not much. I guess he could try to gold walk to this other base. Um, yeah, but this castle is pretty much entirely lost. He doesn't have any units to defend. Consciously Eating, responding by trying to break down these buildings so that he can get his units over in time to help defend. Targeting down the advanced workshop, that's fair. It's not a bad move. And then Weird Rat going for an expand of his own after destroying the 2 werewolf dens as well.
Consciously being a great mate, he saw that Square Root only had workers and hope to defend these wolves with. He brought over a catapult. Um, I don't think, yeah, Holy has been supply blocked. Oh, now he's not anymore. Great. He hasn't had a dropship coming, so he's not going to be able to reinforce with more wolves. He's kind of not paying attention to them. He could lose them all, which would be tragic because he's had a nice hold on this base, such that you claimed that he was going to lose the base, but it looks like Square Root with Consciously's friendly teammate support and some lack of attention to the wolves, he's going to be able to recapture it, which I think Square Root is going to be super stoked about because that would have put him quite behind.
Yeah. Holy needs to continue putting pressure on this base. Like the catapults are gonna do just fine at taking this down. But Holy could be getting free damage here. There's nothing to stop these wolves from damaging the workers, except for like potentially worker harassment, and that's exactly what you were saying earlier with workers in a prayer. And so we do see that the catapults are moving forward. I think the catapults in combination with the wolves will start to be able to get this castle down, but Consciously Eating doing a really good job at pressuring these catapults. He's just using his airship with these catapults to try to get some effective drops. Hard to do though, especially with the wolves running around so much. Weird Rat is microing this relatively well as well. Ooh, Square Root approaching with the drop of his own. See raiders coming in, and that is able to shut down the catapults rather effectively.
Love to see Holy use his wolf reinforcements with that dropship. I mean, I think it was quite brilliant that Holy got that sort of those early dens out. At first, I'm like, does he even know that he's going to have to kill a whole bunch of werewolf dens and such to get to the enemy base? But then he had that advanced workshop tucked away. I'd like to see him use it more. He's had it for a while. He could have been helping reinforce that sort of little micro battle going on up top. He is doing it now and he's pulling it on. I think it may be too late. Weird Rat had those catapults there to help. I believe they're both dead now. He could have been putting on some great pressure. In the meantime, Spirit's going to get a tower up, which I think is going to help a decent amount against the wolves that he's bringing over, especially with the extra reinforcements of catapults that Consciously is bringing. Maybe he senses that Square Root seems to be the focus of attention for the bottom team. And yeah, great to see Consciously with 3 bases now. They seem to be pretty full, really good economy, and Square Root getting his own 3rd up. So feels like the top team overall is a bit ahead macro-wise. Consciously getting some great catapults drops here on the bottom. Luckily, I think Holy, I didn't see how many he lost. Lost none. He didn't lose any workers. That's great from that catapult drop. Pulled away quickly enough.
Yeah, Consciously Eating has been going for 2 catapult drops. One getting about 3 kills, and the other one, not exactly sure how many kills that one got. Ooh, does not need to lose this drop, but he does end up losing it. But yeah, Consciously Eating, forcing workers away, forcing a lot of attention at home. Doing a little bit of damage, fully at the same time moving forward with some wolves. But yeah, it was a very, very effective drop by Consciously Eating. He might lose this airship though. Where did Holy's wolves go? Did they just die? They disappeared?
They've been, they've been pulling their weight, paying their dues by just working on these neutral map things here in the bottom right. I think anything else did die up top, but he seems to be but he is remaking a dropship, so he does feel that he needs to get him in the air to be effective, since it's probably going to take just way too long without catapults to kill these. What do you call these? Like the werewolves and these blocker things. What's like a
The
better like a doodads? What's a
the
generic name
werewolf
for 'em?
dens, or like the neutral. So we just call them neutral buildings for the most part. As far as the units themselves, this is the first time I've ever seen these get used. So I don't think they have a particular name. Um, the nice mechanic about it is that you can gold walk through them with your workers, which allows you to
Yeah.
set up those bases.
Holy, interestingly, he's making workshops. I don't think I've seen him make a workshop before. I mean, this was my first game seeing him the last game, so great to see
Nice.
him
Hmm.
switching into something else. Um, they were able to stop the harassment from consciously. He, let's see, square root going into mages. Um, Honestly, I've always kind of felt like mech versus mage. It feels like it's really down to, I don't know, my own experience is like the mech player just not spreading their units enough. I think you commented on the last game about you were glad to see Square Root making those mages. What's sort of your opinion on how to effectively use mages against mech? Like, does one person need to make a mistake, or does it like scale well, all things considered, or how does that work?
Right. So if we think about it in StarCraft terms, the mage is effectively the ghost, where like you have catapult, which is like the siege tank. That's pretty clear. Mage, in terms of their fireball, functions very similarly to like a ghost. So in this case, you'd be trying to like snipe lurkers with your ghosts, and so you're trying to fireball like catapult balls. Why do I have to say the word ball twice? But yeah, you're trying to flame down catapults, especially when they're clumped together, because there's a lot of like area of effect damage that can happen from it. And then in Square Root's case specifically, they have a ability called a slow field, which makes it really difficult for like wolf armies, or for soldiers, or any kind of ground-based army to approach, because they have to go through the slow field, and slows them down usually to the point where they'll like 100% get hit by a catapult. Consciously moving his catapults into Weirdrat's base is going to lose a big portion of his army. At the same time, Holy he was very successful with this wolf drop, shutting down one of Consciously Eating's bases as well. We do see that these wolves are stuck here. They could be chomping down some of these buildings so that they could get to Consciously Eating's third base, but Holy is just kind of focused on the macro, it seems, at the moment. Square Root having a little bit of a drop himself. Let's see. Yeah, so just a lot of macro going on, a lot of movement in terms of the catapult going forward. Yeah, I'm curious, seeing that you're like a StarCraft 2 player, you come from that environment. If I'm curious what you think of my assessment of the mage. If you agree with it, if you think maybe.
Well, sure. The fireball. I mean, if my mech units are just like, I just A move them across, and they just blast some fireballs. Like, definitely, I'm like, why do I play mech? Like, that would be a thought that would go through my head. But if you see any mages, and you expect fireballs to be coming, and you just like spread them properly, kind of like in an arc, and so that a fireball would at most hit only one or two. I guess like I'm not personally as scared. Maybe I just need to play against Square Roots mages. I'm not sure. I can see how it definitely can be like OP if your catapults are clumped, though. Yeah, I don't know. The slow field, I guess I haven't played that much with it, but yeah, that's probably right.
I definitely like the mage for their slow field ability. In terms of like this army where it's so many catapults, you'd prefer to use them for your fireballs, because it helps kill the opponent's catapults a little bit sooner. I do agree with you. You can spread out against the fireballs and make them less effective. So there's that. There's just takes a lot of attention just to make sure that you're always tracking the mages, and
Yeah.
you could always leverage it for like a positioning advantage if you're forcing your opponent to spread out. Maybe that allows your mech army to get closer to their objectives, something like that, perhaps.
Yeah, they probably both counter each other in a way. Like the catapult's easier to do damage with, and that you can kind of aim move it forward as long as you position them well. But then the mages, you have to pay attention to the mana, and you got to make sure you attack into a good positioning. But then, yeah, I don't know. They probably counter each other just depending on the micro of it and the attention of the positioning. So that makes sense.
Yeah. Yeah, it's obviously it's different than the Ghost, but it's has its similarities.
Yeah, I like analogies from RT. It kind of helps solidify in your brain. Just have that quick analogy here. What do you think of Square Root's opinion of attacking into this
Oh yeah,
with
so
the army? Is it? Do you think he's mostly trying to counter Weird Rat, or mostly the Holy Beast play, or does it do a bit of both?
it's a combination of things, right? So Square Root is trying to deny Weird Rat's mining here, and Weird Rat's like these players have practiced against each other before, so this is not the first time that they're playing. I think in one of the matches where I got to play with both Square Root and Weird Rat, Weird Rat ended up losing because he was forced down a base. And so essentially what Square Root is trying to do here is he's trying to put like constant pressure. He's trying to deny Weird Rat a base, very similar to what Holy did with Consciously Eating earlier. And if he can hold like Weird Rat to be down a base, then he'll be out mining Weird Rat. Holy kind of. So here's the thing about your allies, right? All this pressure is coming down on Weird Rat. It was observed, when Consciously Eating took this base, and then Weird Rat started building a castle in the same box as Consciously Eating. It was observed that it was a contested base, and so Consciously Eating decided, all right, we want to win this contested base, which will end up forcing Weird Rat to be down a base. At the same time, Holy needs to be expanding himself. He needs to be getting another base up so that he can have the economy to help his ally. He hasn't been building that many workers like for a 16-minute game. You should be around 50 workers, maybe even more, at least 40. Very similar to where Square Root is at the moment, having 38. And then having 4 bases, he's got a lot of gold in the bank here. So just as long as you're constantly spending your gold, as long as you're constantly moving forward, you're going to be in a good spot. As a result of losing that base, we see Weird Rat having to position super defensively. He's literally got 1 mining base. Both Consciously Eating and Square Root just expanded and denied all those bases there. So yeah, very, very fast early game with all these airships going into a very like forceful mid game here.
Yeah, I mean, as we were talking, like it just hit me looking at the mini map, like how many more bases the top team has versus the bottom. Definitely. I mean, I feel like bottom team's gonna need to do some magic here with maybe some catapult drops to kill some of these bases that are mostly undefended except for a tower. Maybe pull some attention off them as they try to take their own expansions if they can, so they can even out the economic side of the battle.
Yes. 100% agree there. Consciously Eating is attacking a base that no longer exists in the middle of the map, so that's good for him. Yeah, these, like, now that Square Root and Consciously have this position, it's essentially going to be unbreakable. These siege tanks do such an amazing job in like defending chokes, and Weirdrat decides to leave. He leaves without a GG, so he's probably upset with the way he played this game so far. But we do see the conclusion of our second match. It's currently 1-1 for both teams. See who wins the best of 5.
All right.
All right.